It's Hellblade, and here we are in hell without a blade. Gotta regain this confidence. I mean, reforge this sword, which is a metaphor for regaining this confidence, possibly. It's, many things are metaphors for many other things. It's kind of how metaphors work, but I think specifically that's the guess I'm going with at the moment. In the last shard vignette thing, we saw that, and another aspect of Senua's upsettingly terrible past, once she moved somewhere with Dillion, she ended up being blamed for a plague that happened because she'd spoken about visions of rot and darkness before the plague eventuated. In fact, she may on some level have genuinely known it was coming. There was a kind of hint that they'd gone down to a river which was diseased or something, and Senua, through the lens of her psychosis and also possibly through being fairly observant about the environment, sort of saw this like a crud in the river or whatever and was like, oh no, don't go near there, it's evil, it's cursed. And there actually was a sickness which people possibly really did get from the dirty water or whatever. Unfortunately, they had a bad reaction to that, and she had a bad reaction to them having a reaction to it. I mean, the ones who were still alive. The other ones had an even worse reaction. They died.
I want to tell you a story about a god of the Northmen called Baldr.
Baldr.
The second son of Odin. He was beautiful, good, and wise.
Well, that'd be a first.
He was
for
fair of
a
feature.
god of the Northmen.
He spoke fair words. He gave fair judgments. Light shone from him. Only good things were told of him. Yet he was the first of the gods to die.
Ah. Yeah, that seems in keeping with the rest of Druth's imported legends. Some kind of hall. There's the shining figure of presumed Dillion once again. I really like this image of the half-intact hall. Actually, that... Hang on. Can I be in there? Isn't that just one of the parts of the bridge to Helheim? Well, let's see what's going on. Voices are quiet today. They objected vocally to the other shard vignettes, but they don't seem to mind this one. I can't get through here. Oh, I guess I can. I guess I can get through there as long as I use the interact button. And in fact, I have to go there because I can't go here.
The bridge. You've come this far, but the bridge is broken. There's no way you can fix it.
Shut up. Huh.
It's not safe. Trust us. Let's see. Gods. Where are we? What is this? It's the same. It's another world. It's lighter. It's nicer. I like it here. Can we stay? Let's stay here. I like the way it's safe here. It's calm here. It's light here. It's nice.
I suspect we can't stay. Although... So let's find out if we can go back to the dark world. Not that... Yeah, okay. It works the same way. It's kind of like walking through one of those illusion arches, except that more than one thing changes. Actually, the archers were capable of changing more than one thing too.
It's not broken. It's fixed. What? The bridge is fixed. Let's cross it.
Okay. I wonder if I can now let down that other bridge over there. Runes.
Don't forget. You can feel his presence. You need the runes to fight Dillion. You need Dillion. He's waiting for you. He always said he'd fight. He's close. He cares about you. I feel he's close. He loves you. I feel his love calling you. Dillion. Dillion, we're here. Dillion. We're nearly here.
I feel like they're over-optimistic at the moment, those voices. It doesn't hurt to be hopeful for a moment. Well, it might in the long term. It's interesting being able to view the world in these multiple ways, one positive and one negative. I suspect we're going to discover that it's only possible to make progress by returning to the negative worldview and predicting a metaphor.
The Northmen tell this story about the death of Baldr. It begins with dark dreams. Night after night, Baldr dreams of his own death, and the gods fear for his life. So Baldr's mother makes everything in the world: fire, water, iron, stone, earth, wood, beasts, birds, serpents, poison, sickness, swear an oath not to harm her son. One by one, they each make their vow. Neither weapons nor wood will injure him, Baldr's mother boasts. Only Loki, father of Hela, the mistress of death, is not amused.
I guess keeping someone from death is fairly rude to the goddess of death. What I said just earlier about returning to the negative worldview to make progress, I think that is or could be seen as because the progress here is not exactly progress. Remember, this quest is impossible. Or at least whatever's possible to achieve, it isn't what Senua would ideally want. You know, for the attack to have no longer happened, for Dillion to still be alive, to find him. That isn't going to happen, we know that.
What's behind the gate? Where will it take you? It's not safe.
That was a new voice. Said something about should have stayed with her father when she had the chance and loved torturing. Not good sounding. Is there some way I can open these doors?
You are guilty.
While in the positive voice world, so then I could actually return to the bridge. That would be nice. Blood on your hands. That's got to be referring to the plague again.
You broke him. You killed him. I couldn't see the darkness within you. She knew best. She thought she had light within her. She is pure darkness.
Yeah, the tone of the messaging has certainly changed. Are we going to vacillate wildly?
What are you waiting for? Quick, find a way. Find him. Go. He disappears. Dillion, don't lose him. Way too many times. You always let him disappear. Dillion, there he is. Quick.
The tree is in the way.
You're cursed.
Let's put the rose-tinted goggles back on.
Where is he? Where's he gone? We're in the wrong world. He's not here. She's in the wrong world. He's not in this world. He's in the other one. He's in the other one. He's in the dark world. The dark world.
The world once seemed so simple. Black and white. Darkness and light. Narrow dividing lines of our own making.
I stood on the other side.
Dillion taught her to see further. To peek through the cracks and see the worlds of colour stretching away from the gloom. And Senua explored new paths into the unknown.
Interesting. So I want to get into that little chamber.
The gods feast and rejoice and amuse themselves by throwing spears and stones at Baldr, striking at him with sword and axe. But he comes to no harm, whatever they do. The gods never cease to wonder at this great marvel. But Loki shapes himself into a woman and asks Baldr's mother, "Is it really true that all things promise to keep him safe?" "I did not ask the mistletoe," Baldr's mother confesses. "I thought it was too young." Oh dear.
Dillion believed in you.
Mistletoe. Okay, not quite that easy to return to the bridge. Oh, face.
We spend our lives searching for the meaning in life, and we ask the gods for guidance. But the truth to life is revealed when we can face death without fear. How can the gods understand us if they refuse to die themselves?
The memories of Senua's mother are becoming considerably less comforting.
Dillion saved you.
Can I get up onto that bridge?
Dillion cared for her like no one else has. Dillion's the only reason she's still alive.
See, the voices are nicer in this world, but they're still insane. You know, they're still wrong. Like that just there. Dillion's still the only reason she's still alive. It might actually be true, but it's also, or it might not, but it's very unhelpful, right? It's clearly not the right way for Senua to think in order to heal, if that is even possible.
Does it feel warm? You can't go up
You're
there.
safe.
Go up
Not in this.
You can't.
I guess I'll look for the place to envisage this rune in earnest. Is that it? Yeah, that shape of the shadows and light.
Senua, you've got it.
Why isn't he here?
He's gone.
He's in the dark world.
He's gone to the dark world.
You're in the wrong world.
You didn't believe that she was going. It's the other world.
The same world.
Without
Everyone
you.
else turned their backs.
Face looking.
Do you know? Was it worth it?
You're still alive and Dillion's dead.
He doesn't deserve to be dead. How does that make you feel?
Well, I can go and open the rune door, but see what it leads to.
Look
Pres-
what happens to the things you love. There he is. Where are you taking
He's up there. He's up there. How do you get up there? There's a way. Everything gets
I'll try to reconstruct these stairs using focus.
He believed in you.
You're nearly there. Just find the way.
Let's see if we can finish the story of Baldr. Presumably he was done in by some mistletoe. Is it poisonous? I don't think so.
Makes a dart out of mistletoe
A dart.
and goes
Okay.
to the gods as they throw things at Baldr. The blind god, Huth, was there. Loki asks him why he wasn't taking part. Huth says, "I cannot see where Baldr stands, and even if I could see him, I have no weapon."
The curse cannot be.
Loki replies, "Here is a wand. I will tell you where he stands." And Huth throws the mistletoe at Baldr. It pierces through him, and to everyone's horror, Baldr is killed. And for this, Huth is slain.
You should have listened to your father when you had the chance.
Why didn't you listen to him?
This love has tortured you, and it tortures Dillion.
Vanishing again. Surely Loki should have got some of the blame for that story as well as Earth. More burned bodies.
She should have listened to her father.
Why didn't she listen to her father?
She thought she could defy her father.
So we are going to get to go out to the bridge. It's cool, although I thought more sword shards would be needed. Could this be the conclusion to the Baldr story?
The Northmen tell how the gods mourned Baldr. His body was to be burnt on his ship, but they could not manage to push it into the sea, and sent for a giantess to do it. She comes riding a wolf and has vipers for her reins. She pushes Baldr's ship into the sea with such force that the ground shakes and the rollers burst into flames. When Baldr's wife
Years
sees
had passed since she left her father. She trained hard alongside her friend, Dillion. She saw things no one else could. Patterns, shapes, movement. An intuition that made her an exceptional warrior. Friendship turned to love. But the shadow of darkness never let her go, and she was caught between two worlds. That of Zinbel and her past, and Dillion, her future.
The narrator once
Two
again
realities.
makes things extremely explicit for us. I think the narrator's speech there. Oh, hello. There he is. Definitely got to get onto the bridge then. I was going to say, I think the narrator's voice there interrupted what Druth was saying in the runestone, so I may have to go and activate that again. This is definitely not reasonable, I think, for Senua to blame herself for. Even if, like, you live in a world where it's considered reasonable that someone's dark visions could bring a plague to a village, which is not actually true. Yeah, they don't know that.
Doesn't know who killed him, but we do.
The attack by the Northmen while she was out in the woods was presumably not her fault. Although, I guess it's hardly a rational thing. Oh, there it is, the M. Okay, got it.
Wasting your... You have no time for this. Speed up. These runes mean nothing. It's all part.
It's true, the runes mean nothing. I am sympathetic with that particular voice.
You've sent girls as clay. They're going to watch you. What if these trials mean nothing? He didn't know.
Does Senua blame herself for Dillion's death just on general principles, or because she has this general idea that everything she loves is destroyed, or because she wasn't there to fight? And she is a skilled fighter and, could have been helpful. Who knows?
The Northmen tell how the gods mourned Baldr. His body was to be burnt on his
Listen
ship,
to this before I
but they could
proceed.
not manage to push it into the sea, and sent for a giantess to do it. She comes riding a wolf and has vipers for her reins. She pushes Baldr's ship into the sea with such force that the ground shakes and the rollers burst into flames. When Baldr's wife sees his body carried onto the ship, her heart bursts with grief, and she dies. She's put next to her husband, and the pyre is lit, sending the dead to hell. But even so, the gods cannot accept his death.
He cannot accept his death. Well, that sounds familiar. Alright, let's look at the world more optimistically for a minute.
He was the only one that didn't mind the curse. He loved her so much.
Can't open that door down here. But I can hopefully find rune shapes. There's one of them, I think. Stand here. Is that what I want? Almost.
He's coming to her. What if they're all about wasting your time, just delaying minute by minute? My dear, that's what that feels like. What does she think she's doing? She's you're special. She thinks she can. They mean nothing. Being special. Waste of time. Could all be a waste of her time. What if the
gods are just
playing
What if the gods are laughing?
messing with her.
It wouldn't be this.
Oh man, that rot has gone a long way up her arm. Not reaching the head yet, that's the key thing. I wonder, can I open this door from this world? No. But perhaps from the other world I'll be able to cross this region. Or I could look for shapes forming that rune around here. No, I think I'll have to reach that central area. Maybe. I'm not sure yet. Maybe just activate and listen to this runestone. Since there's apparently more to Baldr's tale.
Overcome with grief, the gods send Hermod to ride to Hell and ask Hela to let Baldr return home. All the gods are weeping, he says.
They're not.
Are they? Asks Hela. We shall see if he is truly missed. If everything in the world will weep for him, he shall go back to the gods. But if even one thing refuses, Baldr stays with me. The gods send messengers everywhere. Weep for Baldr, weep him out of Hell. And everything wept. Men, beasts, earth, stone, trees, metal, everything.
Mistletoe?
Except for a giantess they find in a cave. Baldr was never my friend, she says. Let Hel keep what she has. The Northmen say that the giantess must have been Loki in disguise.
Oh, hello. Loki seems extremely rude. This is a more convenient face. And possibly a vantage point. Can I see something rune-shaped from this platform? These chains, maybe?
Remember Dillion?
What do you remember?
Do you remember the sound of his voice?
Now the voices are just making me sad. So you might be wondering, why am I standing here looking around intently? It's because if I stand in this region here, I feel the rumbling of the controller, which... Oh, it's because of this thing. It's nothing to do with the rune. Okay, forget it.
You have no chance for love.
Nobody will love you again.
Ever again.
It's sadness time. I haven't got that last rune, but at the same time, there's something I would like to explore. I can travel around here now that the door is unlocked. Just in case there's something interesting there.
And now the darkness is swallowing you.
It's more likely there'll be something upsetting, but you never know. Oh, that bridge is probably relevant. Yes, that'll let me get there in the positive world. Slam. I wonder if this kind of locking system of like
It's like it strangled him.
metal hooks and stuff is a period accurate thing. It's a cool way of doing a drawbridge. I like it if I ever build a castle or fortification out of mostly wood with metal elements. I'll remember that one.
Do you even remember?
His love is
So
guiding.
now I can cross out here and look for runes. Oh, or rune stones.
The Northmen tell how the gods punished Loki for Baldr's death.
Finally.
They captured him and took him to a cave. They fetched his 2 sons and turned one into a wolf, and he ripped his brother apart. The gods used Loki's own son's entrails to tie him down, and turned these bonds to iron, and dangled a poisonous serpent over his face, so that its venom would drip onto him. Each time the venom drips onto Loki's face, he writhes in agony. The Northmen say that is the cause of earthquakes. A reminder, perhaps, that if even gods must accept death, then so must we.
Hint, hint.
This is pointless.
What
Well.
are you doing?
That should be enough to open the door, but
Do you think you could make this work? You keep seeing
as the
roses
hallucinations intimate, it's unclear whether this will do anything.
What if they don't actually make sense? The gods were lying.
If you think it makes sense, but really the gods are
Door.
playing with you.
It makes sense in
Dark
your
Wand?
mind, but it doesn't make
Yes.
sense. Worlds.
The gods are made, but it doesn't mean anything.
You can't
Your
read
curse
this
has
language. You
claimed
don't
Dillion's
understand.
belt.
You're wasting time.
Your curse
Can't succeed.
Some interesting stuff down there that you can see through the cracks in the boards. Tree protrusions and stuff. Alright, let's get out to this broken bridge and see what we find instead of Dillion.
He led you astray.
You should have listened to your father when you had the chance.
Why didn't you listen to him?
This love has tortured you, and it tortures Dillion.
Oh man, one of these balance sections. Okay.
Dillion!
This could be a thing.
It's not safe. You're going to fall.
Dillion never much cared for the underworld,
You're going to fall.
and looked dimly upon the druids, like her father, Zinbel.
She can do it. You can do it.
I guess he took after his father, a chieftain who believed nothing he couldn't see, and he happened to be blind. She felt safe in Dillion's arms, and to see the world through his eyes. Slowly, the darkness that had bound her so tightly began to unravel.
Very careful.
You've come this far, don't let him slip away.
It's a narrow bridge. And there's a long way to fall. Where's he gone? It's your fault. He's disappeared. You've lost him to the sea. He's gone. You've lost him to the... He's gone to the water. He's drowned.
Senua, your father cannot understand your darkness. He cannot see through your eyes. No one can. My own father was born blind. Doesn't have the faintest idea of what the night looks like. The word dark to him means as little as the word light. So someone is afraid of the dark. Should we fix them by taking away their sight? Would you give up the beautiful world that you, and only you, can see just to be rid of your nightmares? Or is this the price you pay for the gift you have? A gift that makes you so special in my eyes. Just another part of the person I love.
I left for the wilds to protect you from my darkness. Because I love you. But it made it worse. I'm so sorry.
Killing you would be too easy.
They're taking your memories to torture you.
Taking you from
I feel like
You're disappearing one
that
minute.
was actually a
Every
positive
time you remember,
experience. Like that realization that
They're gonna take everything.
running
you have.
away
The memory
from
Ghosts. They belong to the
comfort
gods.
because feeling like
They're
it will
eating you from
spread
the
darkness to it or don't deserve it
want to kill
clearly
us.
didn't work out well.
To crush it.
A mistake to
What do
avoid
they
in the
want your
future.
soul?
Hopefully there is a
In their
future.
mind, and they're going to
Find out
take
next
it.
The
episode.
memories were yours, but they're the gods now.